of you are watching us online on our social media, on our app. Some of you are watching us right there on your TV sets, in your living rooms, wherever you're watching us from. We are grateful, and all we can say is thank you so much for choosing Church of Uganda Family TV at such a time. This is the Family Hour, where we empower you and the entire family, one episode at a time. Edrine Osteen Mukalazi is my name. Today is a Thursday, and we are looking. Sorry, today is a Wednesday. I don't know where I want to see tomorrow before we are there. Today is a Wednesday, and Wednesday we are looking at finances. So it is important that as we are still in the early days of our year, we talk about planning, effective financial planning for the year, because any decision you make today or in January, February, March will be the result you get in December. Now it is important that we effectively plan for the year. But how can we effectively plan for our year? Because we have 11 and a half months ahead of us. So it is important that we plan how we shall live these months. Now today we are answering the question of how we can effectively plan for the year 2024. With us is Rev Jasper Tumuhimbise. He's the General CEO of Church Commissioners Holdings. Reverend, it's a pleasure having you.
Yeah, Happy New Year. And it is also a pleasure for me to, of course, come. And the viewers, listeners, and those who will watch in the future, greetings, and again, Happy New Year. It is nice to discuss about planning when we are beginning.
Yeah, true. You know, when we talk about actually church commissioners, people don't know that you really have something so heavy on your head.
It is
and
big.
For us, we don't take it for granted.
Big, so we plan for the church to sustain itself, also ensure that we do business for the Great Commission. And so we have Nabugabo Holiday Center, we have Namirembe Guest House, those are hospitality centers. And this year, actually, the plan is to develop all. And then we have also Centenary Publishing House, which prints and publishes all these hymn books you see, Come and Worship, and the calendars, and whatever type of books, especially for Christian literature we publish. We have Uganda Bookshop. If you want any type of book, parents have several confirmations, Friday and Sunday. Please order a book with us. We are able to deliver it. Uganda Bookshop. It is the oldest bookshop, I think, in East Africa. I haven't checked others, but we were celebrating 100 years in 2027. So it was made in 1927. So we have Church of Uganda TV. This is also part of us. And then Church Commissioner Holdings Company has this church house as the main source of rental income, but we have other assets, and we also control land throughout the province of Church of Uganda, and also estates. In case of any development, we aid, so that you see we are doing business, doing it faithfully. We are stewards, but for the Great Commission.
Actually, you talked about the hospitality centers, Nabugabo Holiday Center and Namirembe Guest House, and I remembered someone was telling us that Namirembe Guest House now has a very beautiful new color.
And let them wait. In fact, we are dreaming big. Of course, the AFCON is coming to Uganda. So pray with us that when we get money, we put a 5-star. 5-star means really every other aspect of hotel is actually there, other than alcohol and cigarettes. Because for us, it is clear when we are doing hospitality, yes, we are doing it in a Christian way. So if you are drinking alcohol, you are not welcome. If you are smoking, you are not welcome. This business of carrying a woman who is not your wife, that you want to stay with us for us, that money, please take it away. Or if you want, I want to bring a conference to Namirembe, and I want a commission. a small bribe, forget, we shall not pay it to you. In fact, we shall even inform your supervisors that you are tempting us, you are leading us into temptation. So we want to do business, but in a Christian way, where somebody will appreciate that I was somewhere, and this environment promotes the kingdom of God rather than the promotion of simple money.
And actually, at that very point, we believe that you can still make profit even when you do business the right way and the Christian way, without cheating, without...
In fact, you can still be very rich, okay, like me, without having soiled your hands in corruption, without cheating anybody, without taking bribes. And you know, opportunities were there. Even today, you know, somebody was whispering, "Hey, Musumba, you know, when you will get the money, yours will be this amount, and mine will be this, and nobody will know." And I'm listening, and I'm saying, doesn't this person know that God will know, and he's already listening? And then secondly, that do I depend on really on these piecemeals for me to survive? No, we have survived for long without cheating, and you can be very wealthy. In fact, now let me qualify this so that we plan this year to do well.
Yes.
The only wealth you can trust is the one you have obtained faithfully and rightly. I can assure you, I have read books, I have seen, you know, many people, they obtain wealth and think that because you've obtained it, we can retain it. No, as long as you got it wrongly. There are hotels which I know, they were built wrongly, using wrong money, but visit them today, you'll get shocked. But yet, a simple hotel which developed slowly, using proper resources, they will sustain themselves. They will be able to withstand even shocks. So the challenge of Ugandans today is people thinking that you can't be, you know, educated and then be rich without soiling, and that's the unfortunate part. But we know even in the Bible, people who are rich like Abraham, they were hard working. Isaac, the Bible, Genesis 26, he planted and did what? Harvested 100-fold, to the extent that Abimelech and his men said, go away, we can't manage you, you are rich. So that's my prayer, that you know, God will prosper you properly, and people around you will even begin fearing you. So it is not that, you know, you plan. Of course, some are planning. I will steal more this year. I will cheat this one. I will get this wrong tender. I can assure you, all that is a pack of cards. Again, I have read many books, like this man, the former king of Zaire, Mobutu Sese Seko, was a banger. He had Concords and what, planes, but he was buried when he's standing, because there was no space to sleep. His coffin in Morocco was put standing. Then I read one of the wives of Imelda Marcos had 3,000 pairs of shoes. Now, surely, 3,000 pairs of shoes, you can put on one at a time. Okay, if you are a fool, you can carry 5. And it is a bother, 3,000. But where is her name? You can't get it. This, the wife of Mugabe, same thing, very rich, stinking rich. But now, you can't know where she is. And I know Ugandans whom I can't mention, who seemed to be so rich. But because they obtained their riches, so the way you obtain is the way it goes. You steal.
They steal from
to buy cement, somebody will steal that cement. If they don't steal the cement, they will steal your house. If they don't steal your house, you will get tenants who will never pay. And by the way, they will have capacity to pay. So we are now dealing with planning in order for you to get adequate resource for you to live well in the land of the living, so that you have nobody, you know, calling you that you cheated him or what. And I thank God for many, and there are many, except, you know, we don't overtalk. There are many people who have lived faithfully, who have served public service, and when you meet them, you shake their hands. But there are those who serve, and you are praying that they go away. even when they go away, you are praying that you don't meet them. And so, that's the challenge. And I pray that you Ugandans, we shall be able to plan this year so that we are able to allow God to bless us through what they call integrity systems, where your hands, your heart, your head is all working for the sake of prosperity of yourself and your family without necessarily soiling yourself.
Wow, that was really a very, very good approach as we lay a foundation for our talk today, because it is really important that even as we plan, some of those plans, those evil plans shouldn't be among the plans you have for the year. Now we get into our planning. What should someone consider as they draw their plan for this year?
Okay, so the first thing is the definition of a plan.
Yes.
Plan is taking steps ahead of time in order to achieve certain goals and objectives. Let me repeat that a plan is taking steps ahead of time before activities happen, so that you are able to achieve certain goals and certain objectives. And really, in terms of the theoretical framework, we say that if you plan, that will be success. Planning, if you make a plan, that's one step towards success. But if you fail to plan, then you are planning to do what? To fail.
How long should a plan be? Because when you talk about ahead of time, for instance, I can plan and then something is happening the next 30 minutes, but I plan for it now. Is it still a valid plan?
Yes. So there are three types of plans.
Okay.
One is short term.
Okay.
From 0 minutes to 1 year. That's really short
0
term.
minutes.
Yes. Given him, I planned it to come. So now that I'm here, I'm planning to talk. God willing until 10. So that's a plan. And I mean, I have a plan to talk until that time. But then also, I have a plan for the whole year. That you see, I told you last year that I become 55 this year. So NSSF. I told them last year, I'm coming. Why? Because it is the age benefit. So I planned for it long ago. It can't be that this year I'm now planning to get age benefit. No. I already planned that this year part of the income stream is age benefit, equivalent to this amount. I can't say it here for security reasons. For security reasons, so that when that benefit comes, I'm in trouble. But I planned for it, and so it is good to plan 1 year, that's short term, 1 to 2 years general short term, 2 to 5 years for a person or a family, that's medium term, 5 year plus is long term. And for every project, it should be short term, medium term, and long term. But within the short term, like this year, we have what they call quarters.
Yes.
The first quarter from January to March, then from April to June, second quarter, then July to October, third quarter, September, sorry, then October to December, fourth quarter. So you even need within those short plans to have quarters. Then within quarters you have months, and then you can have weeks. And you can shade all over that I need to do this activity in this period of time. And it is very good to actually lay it down. And so this year, I have already planned very many things. Why? Because one, I have set a goal for this year. That, this year, in terms of finances, in terms of our family, we need to reach this goal. Then, after setting the goal, you now organize the goal. You have objectives, and each objective I will run in this first quarter, I will do this. This second quarter, we should have done this. This third quarter, we should have done this. So you are organizing the routine. How will I go towards that main goal? But then, you must keep your foot on the ground. Keep checking. By the way, I had planned to do this in January. How many days are we remaining with? There are lesser days we are remaining with in this January than what we have now passed through. And you know, the challenge is sometimes we want to remind ourselves toward the end. So we have lost a lot of time. For example, why I'm talking about keep your foot on the ground. For me, I read the Bible once, from Genesis to Revelation throughout the year. So my plan is to read 3 to 4 chapters per day. So if today is 16th, I should be at a minimum. If today is 17th, I should be at a minimum. I should have read 51 verses, 51 chapters. Then at the maximum, even if you read 75, that's okay. Because you are now what? So you keep your feet on the ground, keep tracking.
Doesn't this create some unnecessary, uncalled for pressure inside you that later can cause you issues?
And by the way, you should have pressure. Mediocrity and naivety means that you get up and you begin saying, by the way, what was I to do? Then you say, okay, let me go to the market, and when I see something, I will shop it. That's mediocrity. So you need to list things you are going to shop, so that when you get up, God willing, and many people indeed God has given us breathe, then you go and say, the activity was 1, 2, 3, 4. I normally actually write them in my diary. Some people are even very key to write daily activities. I will send an email, I will do this, I will call this one, call this one. Then you tick. At the end of the day, then you can measure yourself whether you kept your foot on the ground and did more work and less, and you can carry forward the next day. So that means that therefore planning, you must focus on risks and challenges. That you know, I'm planning for this, but there is a risk and a challenge that may come. And you see, as we talked about risks last year, we mentioned that the more they risk, the higher the risk, the more the profit, the more the benefit. Many people, you know, go to businesses without risk. People have opened saloons, then you begin saying, hey, let me also open saloon. But the saloons, the heads are still the same. In fact, some heads like mine is even getting what? Borrowed. So in a way, that's not a business for you to invest in unless
you see a need.
If you see a very big need. So risks, yes. Challenges, yes. And let them come. Why? Because as long as there are no risks, then you don't need to plan. As long as there is no, you know, friction, then everybody can what? Can thrive. And I can assure you, people who confront risks, who plan and confront risks and begin saying, if this risk comes, I will do this. If there is no rainfall, I have planned to plant 5 acres of maize. If there is no rainfall, that's a risk. Then I can get, we call it mitigation. I can irrigate. Or I can get bottles and put some water. Or I can fetch water and begin. In other words, you are now trying to mitigate what? Risks. Then develop a financial plan showing income streams. Income streams saying this year I will get salaries, I will get allowances, I will get donations. You know, donations is hey, Reverend, you look hungry, get 100K. That's part of your financial plan.
Can you really have a budget for donations and say, okay, this year I will get donations worth the 2 million?
Amount of donations is this, and what you do, you use history. You know, you use your story behind that. Last year donations were around 2 million. So this year add 10%, 2.2 million. You may not hit it, but it's okay to what? To call it other income that you see, because when you don't plan for other income, when it comes, you'll spend it anyhow. And again, we are not saying that, you see, when we are planning, we are not faith related, because many people confuse the fact that if you have faith, you don't need to plan. But the Bible is clear. God, even creating the world in Genesis 1, he had like a plan. He couldn't create a bird without the air. He couldn't create a fish without water to what? to swim in. He couldn't create an elephant without land to stand on. He couldn't even create lights, that's the fourth day, without the major light coming on the first day. So what we are saying is that God was methodical. And anybody who is a Christian must be methodical. You know, let's go to the pulpit, whatever word drops, I will speak it.
The Holy Spirit will use me.
He may use you, and he's able to use you.
Yes.
But he will know that I'm using a fool. Because, you see, the Holy Spirit, the other day, people were saying that, you don't need education in order to preach.
Yes.
Yeah. But also God is saying you don't need it not to go to school in order to preach. So God put the education for us to acquire it and then use it for what? For appropriating His grace. But this business of saying, let me go to preach, whatever word comes, dependence. And you know, God does not give us even an option. If you have the Bible, I know some of you have the Bible. Proverbs 16:9. A man plans, God determines the next step. You get it? In other words, you plan, but the one to fulfill your plan is God. But you can't say, I want to plan, because again, God hates naivety. In Genesis chapter 11, when people planned to build a tower, God came down and said, these guys, if they plan anything, they will succeed. Why? Because you see, planning is a gift from God. It even enhances His trust on you. And so I will plan that I will do 1, 2, 3, 4, give God those plans, and then ensure that God makes those plans succeed. But there are two things I want to mention.
Yes.
The other one is exercise, focus, and caution. That as you are planning, be realistic. Be realistic. Meaning, be specific. Know that if you have a job of 1 million, don't plan for revenue from salaries of 10 million. Be realistic. Realistic means that to know that surely, even if it overrained, the capacity for me to produce this amount of maize from this field is around this. So don't overestimate yourself. Be cautious that you see we are realistic. The economy is like this. That you see after COVID things became like this. So that you see when you make a realistic plan, you'll pray properly.
Someone might think I'm making a realistic plan, but out of faith. So they exaggerate it because when you dream big, God will also fulfill that big dream.
Yeah, because you see, if Joseph relied on faith after dreaming, he wouldn't have gone into prison. He would have been already killed. But you see, he dreams that I will be a ruler. It takes 13 years for him to fulfill that dream. In other words, he was realistic. That I have a dream, yes, but they have sold me, yes. I'm a houseboy, yes. They have put me in prison, yes. And they sometimes even question that dream, that plan. But it will come to be fulfilled. The challenge is that, like David was anointed when he was 16 years, but he became a king at 30 years. 14 years. Meaning, if you had been rushing like many of us, I am anointed king, I'm anointed reverend, I'm anointed pastor, then tomorrow you plant a church. I call those, now listen to this, I call those, and I got this from Reverend Canon Waswaporo, the chaplain of UCEO. We call those burning bush activities. You say burning bush and you are Moses, you plant there a church. But there is instruction. And instruction is not plant a church. It is go and what? Go and lead Israel. A burning bush marriage, you meet a woman and say, oh, she looks nice. We go home. Then she will burn you. Why? Because marriage is after instruction. A burning bush business. Wow, this is doing well. Sanitizers. Then you buy them, there is no more COVID. It burns you. So we have what they call burning bush activities, burning bush plans, that I'm waiting for it to rain, then I sell umbrellas. No. Plan that I will be having a shop selling umbrellas. And when it rains, I will just increase the stock. But you cannot have that burning bush idea. Burning bush again, if the pastor gets a revelation or dreaming that they are preaching the next day a church, that church will burn. Why? Because there is no instruction. So there is revelation, that's a burning bush, but an encounter for instruction. What do I do?
Okay.
You go to Egypt and talk. No, but I don't know how to talk. Yeah. You have your brother Aaron helping you. You get it. And that's what we call instruction. So we go to school mainly to, allow us now instruct ourselves better. That I go to UCU. I was preaching before I went to UCU. But I went there for 3 years again. The reason is, I am methodically being instructed on how to interpret the Bible. I studied Hebrew, and by the way, it is exciting. And I found that, yes, I was doing something, but now I can do it better. God, the Bible says that He will bless skilled hands. So the final point is on reviewing periodically.
Reviewing periodically. Reverend, let's take a short commercial break. When we return, we are going to start with reviewing periodically, because that is now another lengthy talk.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
For God so loved the world that He gave His only Son, that whoever believes should not perish but have eternal life.
Because once Christ warns about something, it calls for attention as believers. When God warns us about something, it means that we are susceptible to it.
Finally, be strong in the Lord and in the strength of His might. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the schemes of the devil.
Moses, Ramesses, you grew up together, close as brothers.
Remember the prophecy. Samson, chosen by the living God.
You dare to defy me? Let the furnace be heated sevenfold. Bind them and cast them into the fire.
It begins.
Take the ark!
Welcome back from the commercial break. This is Family Hour, our Wednesday edition. We are talking about finances, more specifically, if you plan strategically. We are looking at the effective financial planning for 2024. Before the break, there is something pending. Reverend was telling us. We are with Reverend Jasper, who is the General CEO of Church Commissioner Holdings. Now, this is the business arm of the Church of Uganda, and in it are a lot of things. We have Namirembe Guest House and Nabugabo Holiday Center. That cool place. You just need to go to Nabugabo Holiday Center. It is really a serene environment.
This year, 30 rooms.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be there. And
you launched the project last year.
Yes, and then about 10 forest cottages. Where you enter forest, and then enter cottage, and don't enjoy the surrounding environment of birds singing, and you know these insects crying at night. Of course, for some people that's a horror, but for others that's something nice.
Like me.
So yeah, even me, I will be staying in the forest, and that's what we are doing. But we went for break when we were talking about periodic reviews.
Yeah, periodic reviews.
So you plan that in this month I would have done 1, 2, 3. Again, like for me, Bible reading, daily review, daily. Have I done my targets? Then for finances, please, if it is possible, weekly you have a summary of, I expected this income, this amount came in, then I spent this amount. Just periodically review. Am I in a deficit? Who will finance the deficit? Am I in a profit? How will I invest this profit or save it? But don't risk by saying that if it is a profit, I will eat it. If it is a deficit, I will go for a loan. No. Even that, when you are periodically reviewing, you will begin knowing that the trend in January that we have spent a lot of money. People spent a lot in December.
Yes.
And it was a holiday. So children also at home and eating and electricity and water, all those bills, including TV, are higher than the normal. So generally January becomes a stressful period. So when you review January now, you know that in February, then I will ensure that I save on this, save on this, save on this. We are entering a fasting period, I think, in February 11th.
Yes.
Those are 40 days of fasting. Yes. So from that time, there are no weddings, there are no general functions, especially within our Church of Uganda and Catholic Church. So there you can now say, on weddings, I will spend less. Then you will allocate that money to something else. So when you periodically review, you will know that today I'm not going to spend on this item because I'm not able to have this money for this period. And if you do not have enough money for fuel, then you can use a taxi. And then save it so that you are able, because you see, when you enter financial distress, I can assure you, the body, the heart, the soul, and the people around you also enter that distress. And I was talking to somebody who told me that his distress is caused by lack of what? Finances. And when he has no finances, and they reach home that we want sorot, the quarrels are equivalent to 10 bags of sorot. Why? And you see, when you are quarreling, the heartbeat, diabetes, pressure, all of those come. So when you periodically review, you know that you won't be shocked by your shortfall. You actually say, this shortfall is coming, so what can I begin doing to mitigate it? And if I'm going to get more money, then what am I going to use it for? And again, we are not saying that that's not faith. Actually, again, God likes people who plan and they have faith that God will fulfill their plans. It isn't that I have faith and therefore no plan. If you have faith, let me ask you, and somebody told you that I'm a bus driver, but I have never gone to a driving school. Okay, you have faith, but can you allow that person to drive you?
No.
Of course, no. Why? Because faith has also a plan that you must go to a driving school, obtain this type of class in order for you to be allowed to drive.
Yes.
And so we enter buses with surety really that the one driving has all those aspects, and that they are not blind, and that you see they have legs to step on pedals. So it is not lack of faith, it is simply knowing that God has put systems to facilitate planning, and so if you have plan, then you add faith. God is able to fulfill what? To fulfill those plans. So periodically review. If it is possible, even as a family, and I think we haven't done it this year, but I know one child is pushing, is to meet. Last year we did 1, 2, 3, 4. We performed this way. This year, what are our major priorities?
As of evaluating.
Yes. Where can we get the money? If like this year's plan, of course, it has, like for example, purchase of a vehicle. What type of vehicle? How many people will it carry? Where will you get this resource? What are you planning to do? So that you see, again, we don't begin waiting that when the money enters, then we purchase. Because if you go to a supermarket and you begin checking which item to buy, you might end up really buying a basin instead of a tray. Why? Because you are not sure what is lacked at home. And so many of us have many pairs of shoes. Others have so many watches. I found a man with about 5 types of watches. And the reason is when he's in a plane and they bring and he sees something nice, he purchases, but they are all there. But I can assure you every watch will count time. And whether it is golden, whether it is silver, time remains time. It is like also, you know, the Bible says King Solomon, that's 1 Kings chapter 11, had even plates made of gold and spoons. But food remains food. Okay. Yes. You will still need to pick it and eat it. And what food does, it doesn't depend on whether you use the gold or plastic. Of course, plastic, there might be some germs, yes, but wash it. Food remains what? Food. So the primary is not that we begin, you know, purchasing expensive items. No. The primary is the usage. I had a daughter. So one time, I never knew that. I knew there are mini skirts, mini dresses, mini what. But she brought me mini socks. I wish I had come with a pair. Socks, which is like really a quarter of the normal socks. But listen to what she told me when I said, I'm really disappointed. She said, no, what is the purpose of socks? And by the way, I found that those mini socks fulfilled the purpose of socks. Yes. So in your plan, go more for the purpose than the nature. Let me repeat. We go for the purpose, the reason for being, the use of an item rather than the nature of the item. In other words, if you transport children to school, the purpose of the vehicle is transporting children to school. And that purpose will now define the nature of the vehicle you need to purchase. But most of us go for the nature, we forget the what? Purpose. The purpose. And that's really a contradiction. Because when I'm buying something nice, I'm buying it for the purpose, for its use, rather than its nature. Otherwise, that's why you find many people having things at home, they have never used them. If you have, like, for example, dresses, with all due respect, they are all for either parties or giveaway. Others even keep their wigs. Their wigs, and I call them nets. You get it, wedding gowns. But you can't even wed it twice. But even if you wedded it twice, that size can't fit.
Yes.
So you are forgetting. Now they are confusing the nature that this reminds me of my wedding, and they begin to cry. But they are forgetting that the purpose of that garment is to be dressed on weddings. So if that garment would speak, it would tell you, take me somewhere where they will use me. But we leave it, and cockroaches and rats sometimes eat them. And so the question is, as you purchase, as you make plans this year, go for the purpose. I want to travel. I want to eat well. I want to live a healthy lifestyle. Yes. And so the purpose should be a healthy lifestyle. If you are like me, please walk. Walk. So that you avoid jams and somebody can drive the vehicle. And that one I do. And that's part of my plan. Of course, you save now money when you are walking because other than water, mineral water bottle, the rest is you have saved all the money. But you have also lived the health lifestyle, and therefore you are preventing, expenditure in what? In sickness. I have a health card insurance, but I can assure you they will get shocked because I don't follow sick. In fact, one time I had even refused because I don't use the what? I don't use the money. No, I don't. But that's it. That you are planning to live a healthy lifestyle so that you avoid certain things in the future. So nature and purpose again. That the purpose is the reason for your plan, financial plan, a reason for the item you are purchasing. The nature is what type of what item you are purchasing. And it is better normally to go for cheaper ones if they can fulfill the same purpose than expensive ones. Because expensive ones, it normally puffs us up. That I have the most expensive vehicle. But as I said last time, even if it is very expensive, the next day somebody will make a new model. So it will now be old, and you may be disappointed. And people who now yearn for new things, craving, they make very bad decisions concerning financial planning, because for them it is which one is on the model. But I bought iPhone 4 before I used it properly, 5, 6. Now I don't know. Even if I left mine somewhere, they will just say, come and pick it, because it is no longer serious. And even what, they no longer even manufacture what, the spare parts. No. And that's what the world is. So we cannot run after the world, but surely we can continuously purchase things that are relevant to our setting. You
realize someone holds a phone of 5 million. And they are renting, but you realize when they tally their incomes, their expenditures are more than the incomes, and actually
and they are renting, but they haven't even paid the rent. So they are chasing them with the 5 million phone.
They already have notices.
That's a disaster. Then you are also using a taxi, and people are able to grab that phone. In other words, again the nature. And by the way, Katoch can send messages, it can receive mobile money, it can make calls. It may not go for this what they call them smart. It may not appear smart, but that thing will do what most phones do, except possibly going for internet. But I had a Katoch where I would enter internet and check my mails. And so again, if it is possible, as far as it concerns you, if it is possible as a family, please have a culture of saving, a culture of investing, and a culture of minimizing things which appear nice, but their nature is what? the net is good,
That
but
is
their
what-
purpose is not as good.
That is where I want us to draw our attention in these remaining minutes, because you realize, especially for our generation, we are so much excited by technology, so much excited by a lot of things. Like you said, that there are trends. Every day there is something new on market, and you realize that we are taken by those things. So in the end, as you check out, you get to your checklist in December, you realize that you've not accomplished anything that you planned for, probably because of the way you've been spending.
Yes.
When you go for a meeting, you want to be the big spender, and you know, when people are buying off gifts, you want to say, I buy it at 500,000, even when you know that you don't have transport back home, or you live in debt.
And you sell the gift immediately after purchasing it. And again, that's
so let us talk about that lifestyle
that's
adjustment.
The biggest risk. And yesterday I heard that Ugandans spend mainly on two things. One is education, which is okay. The other one was entertainment. That when you are in entertainment industry, guys will go. That you see many people will choose football to this teaching.
Exactly.
Why? Because football is exciting. You know, these TV shows, they ensure they buy the most expensive.
Actually, someone said that people organize concerts.
Yes.
And 4 or 5 or 6 concerts on the same day, but they all get filled up.
Exactly. And they go hopping around.
Yes.
I perform here, I rush there, I rush there, and they are all full. I read somebody, it was in Kasese, where the musician, I think he was very tired. He told the policeman, when I dance and go down, shoot. And then they will say rebels. So the concert began. He did this a bit, and then they shot. They said rebels. That was the end of concert. But people had paid. The money went home with our money. And of course, like football, we can check results. You get it. But some of these programs on family TV, I can assure you, you may never hear it again. So that's what they call opportunity cost now. That you forego one thing for another because of, again, purpose.
Yes.
So as a young person, what do you normally forego in order to achieve what you want? As a young person, do you look at a phone and say, let it be here, let me study, I will get this phone later? Television, of course, before we were eager to buy television, but I can assure you, I only sit on TV when I'm watching certain program. It is no longer fun. Football again, I was once a fan, but today, if my children are not at home, I can assure you, I can't buy a package. I can't mention it on certain TV so that we remain friends. But the truth is that I will buy the cheapest, where there is a family TV, where I can watch news, and it is 16K. Yeah, but you know the choice now to pay too much, and of course you are spending also more on utilities, is simply because of the entertainment industry. Now, arts and entertainment today will market more than anything else. Young people are attracted by arts and entertainment more than anything else, including education. So they rather go for, they call them games and cartoons, rather than entering a book at the beginning to read. So previously, for me, I would buy a novel. I mean, I have books. Even now, I have a book. If you are there, this is Alexander McKay. By the way, as part of your planning, read a book at least one every week. That's what I do. But, so for me, I buy books. But there are so many people who will buy now video games. So the book, what does the book help me to do? It helps me to get information and knowledge. But a video game, I don't know. It can't teach you how to cook. It can't teach you how to have a skill. But yet, you crave for it.
And now you spend much time on it.
The more you do, the more you would want. You get it? And that's the challenge, that you see the entertainment industry is pushing us towards what they call craving and therefore addiction. That you see, I have craved so much, I have done so much, now I am addicted. And any form of addiction, whether on computer, whether drug addiction, whether even in any form of addiction is bad, because it will make you spend what you do not want to spend on. Like people who are addicted to alcohol. Yes. It doesn't matter. All they want is give me Reverend some money, and they rush to buy what? Why? Because they can't contain themselves without the thing they are addicted to. So the danger of planning for things like that is that your plan will only focus on the cravings of the body, your sexuality, your attributes towards hunger, that if I'm hungry, I must eat. That also I must satisfy every craving. And let me tell you, you can't have a budget which can satisfy that. But even if it can satisfy that, then you end up in Butabika. Why? Because every craving again will totally shut down the system. And so that's our challenge today, that we are going for cravings rather than basic items that make a person survive. And again, I was telling people once that without a very nice phone, you'll still survive. Yes. Yes. Even if I don't wear a shirt which costs 2 million, I will still be okay. I will still cover myself. So the purpose is covered. And the price is not listed anywhere on your shirt. Yes, I told you the other day, you enter a hotel, soda, 7,000. But I am sure soda is how much? 1,000. 1,000. So those are 7 sodas in one sitting. But you want people to see you in that what? That's why take photos and post. You take photos and post. But the challenge is that now whom are you addressing? Whom are you satisfying? Even if you posted 1,000 posts, as long as you are spending more than what is required for you to spend, you are FOO, what they call a fool. Why? Because again, it is the same content. Yes. That water bottle, it is the same content. Yes, the certain environment, that's nice, you can pay for it. But not pay, beyond your means. So we are not saying you don't go for some of those places, but we are saying that please ensure that you live within your what? Your means. Within your budgetary means. Okay. Reverend, what are your closing remarks as we wind up this discussion? 3 things. Number 1, again, what do you want to be in December in terms of your finances? As a family, what are your goals? Then within those goals, how do you define your priorities? Okay. Education, health, those are priorities. They are basics. But then, after determining your priorities, ensure you have what they call responsibility centers. My husband will do this, my wife will do this, children will do this. These income streams will be 1, 2, 3, 4. Then finally, again periodically, after 3 months, check yourself. Am I on the right track? Those are called landmarks. If you are going to Jinja, Mukoni is a landmark. Rugazi is a what? A landmark. And then you will be checking yourself. Am I moving toward that direction? But if you are going to Jinja and you find yourself in Masaka, heading for Mbarara, it doesn't matter what type of vehicle you are driving. It doesn't also matter how much fuel you have. You are totally lost. And so I pray that you will make a plan today. Ask God to bless those plans. And indeed, He will be able to prosper you. And in the future, you will be a useful person for this nation and for our church. Thank you so much, Reverend, and thank you so much, you, our viewer. Wow, it was really a lifestyle audit. Huh? Yes. So, as we in the early days of the year, you now check out yourself and see, where am I? Where was I faulting? What are the things that were limiting my
plans to be fulfilled. So, but I believe out of this discussion, a lot has been learned. We have learned, I believe you too have learned. This is Family Hour. Family Finance will come back next Wednesday, but tomorrow is a Thursday. We want now to look at connections in leadership. But like Reverend talked about addictions, this Friday we have a very, very important talk on addictions in the Family Hour. So miss and not. From the entire team, Brinko, Raymond, Muhumuza, Jonan, and I, it's a good night.
Family Hour, empowering families one episode at a time. Together, we build strong, healthy, and thriving families with